So, looking pretty sweet. Pretty full-featured thing we got going on here. There are things that could be better. You may have... did everyone, by the way, see the couple of things that I put in chat after class ended yesterday? We had a couple of fairly major issues that we had fixed in the morning class, but I forgot to do in the afternoon class with getting the form to appear on top of the message list. So one goofy thing is if you have a private room, and then you create another room with the same name and a different list of users, it will totally overwrite the other room, right? And you'll suddenly be able to see all those messages that you shouldn't have been allowed to see. So we let you create duplicate rooms. And it doesn't truly duplicate them, it just replaces them. But the messages stick around. So we could handle that better. There are a number of things we could do better. Let's see here. Potential future enhancements. Disallow duplicate rooms. We could do some client-side validation. We don't do any of that whatsoever right now. For example, required fields. You can put blank messages now. You can put rooms with no names. That's not great. We never did talk about any of that in the whole 3 weeks. So real quick, message form. Let's just do this one. Here's the input for type of message. Just throw a required prop on there. You could, but this is even easier. Yeah, just throw a required prop on there. HTML, that's an attribute. That totally works in HTML too. Just throw required on there. It's a Boolean attribute, so you don't have to have a value. And then I try to do that, and it says, please fill out this field. Now that is an HTML5 feature, so there are ancient browsers that don't enforce it, but it's enforced most places. And if you had a backend, you would do some server-side validation anyway. But this is a pretty good way to do it. At least a decent starting point. So just a tiny bit of client-side validation there. Let's just require this. Require message body. So we need to do that for again for room names and stuff like that too. Can't create a direct message without any users in it or any members in it. That sort of stuff. So client-side validation. Right now, when we delete a room, it doesn't actually delete the messages. So if you create a new room with the same name later, you get all the old messages back. Maybe that's how you like it, but that's probably unexpected behavior for your users. So delete messages when deleting a room. Allow emoji in message bodies. I mean, strictly speaking, React is the boop. You can do that, but we'd like to be able to do it like this, right? So you could work on that. That's another thing you could do. Allow emoji in a message body, or emoji picker in a message body, because you can still do it. Upload images. That sounds hard. Somebody this morning suggested multiple organizations. So like I'm a member of so many different Slack organizations. I have the one for Extern Bootcamp. I have one for indie hackers and lots of different clients. Not just channels, but like whole different sets of channels. Like, different workspaces. If you're going to do that, like the design of that database-wise, I would basically put another key, another level up. That is like the ID of the organization. And just scope everything that they do to that. Okay, my Firebase console's freaking out. There we go. We don't list a room's members right now. List each room's members. Show who is currently signed in. We don't do that. Someone this morning suggested indicate when someone is typing. Yeah, so you would need to actually update something in state every time a key. Well, we're already updating state when a key is pressed, but you'd actually need to sync that somewhere. Have some sort of Boolean when there's unsubmitted text in there. So yeah, that could be a little complicated, but it's possible. Yeah, that's what I meant by this. Show who's currently signed in. What's that? After its creation, right? You can invite them when you first create it, but then you can't invite people later, right? Yeah. Invite more members, or invite users to rooms, because it actually doesn't send invitations, right? Is that what you meant? Send invitations, or did you mean the first thing?
I meant like send invitations.
Okay, so send invitations. Send room invitations to users. Also, add more members to a room after it's created. Because right now you have to know everybody right when you create it. There's all kinds of stuff we can do. Make it mobile friendly. Another suggestion from the morning. It's probably not horrible right now, but it probably isn't great because we haven't been trying. Is it pretty bad?
Yeah, you can see it if you open your
Yeah, it looks. I mean,
well, okay, mine looks different. It's like half the size.
this little preview makes it look okay on an iPhone 10. What about on? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So we would want to show and hide the sidebar, right? Or actually have that be a hamburger menu, probably, like Slack is. Hamburger menu, when you have the three little lines. That's just what people have taken to calling that thing. Because it kind of looks like a hamburger. Yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff you could do. And believe it or not, you will forget React if you don't keep doing it ever. That is to suggest that you've learned React in the first place, which hopefully you feel like you have at least a little. Tiny, tiny bit. There's a lot more to React than this, of course. Which I'll talk about in a second, but it's also really good to have. I have no idea what that sentence was starting to be. It's good to have side projects and things that you work on just to get good practice and stuff like that, because especially a lot of times school assignments aren't necessarily that similar to what you will do on the job. So I think stuff like this can be cool. So yeah, see if you can. If anyone does keep working on this and implements any of these things, please send me a message. I want to know. I'd love to see it. Did anybody make theirs look really different or anything? Anybody style it differently? Okay. Nobody made it totally crazy. Change the sidebar color. That's pretty far out. Add suggestions for future enhancements.
Oh, you could also do like you could have like a filter for bad words.
Oh yeah. Filter out naughty cuss type languages. Ban users. We're going to give our communities the benefit of the doubt right now. We're not gonna. We believe in the goodness of humanity for some reason. Oh, like have different classifications of users. Like some people, yeah, right. Admin users and so on. Yeah, right.
If you're paid, you get access to emojis.
That's right. Got to monetize this thing. It's never too early to think about monetizing.